Welcome to the DNA college football. Welcome to the DNA college football. The best college football. Welcome to the DNA college football. Welcome to the DNA college football. Welcome to the DNA college football. The best college football. Welcome to the DNA.
Yo, what's going on, fellas? This your boy DaBus, and I'm coming to you with the DNA College 27 podcast, and I'm gonna be your host today. And man, we just gonna kind of get started with one of the owners in the DNA, and his name is Coach Fav, and Coach Fav will be taking on the Florida Atlantic head coaching job. So let's welcome my first guest to my first episode of the DNA podcast, man. Welcome, Fav, to the show. What's up, Fav?
What's up, Bus, man? It's a pleasure to be here. Honestly, I've been dying to do one of these shows, so let's get to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, man, let's before we get into your new job as the head coach of Florida Atlantic, tell me about your experience last year uh, at your last school, and what and how did you make the transition to want to and decide that you wanted to leave?
Yeah,
Your,
absolutely. So, last year, uh, it was my first full years. Because the year prior to that, when we did 25, I had a little bit of health issues here and there. But after finally having a full year of actually doing the football game, it
right,
it was challenging at first because I started off with Tulsa. And then the ultimate goal was to eventually land into like one of the powerhouses teams, but we fell short of that. But we ended up finally landing in California, which has a great pipeline, great recruitment. And we took over that team when it was a 69 overall team who had just finished 2 and 12 that year, 2 and 11 that year. And we ended up having 6 full seasons with them, not a losing season, winning seasons, winning bowls. So it was good. The transition was great. The group recruitment was great. And just keeping the players, developing the players the way I wanted it, passing the ball the way I wanted it. It was great. It was great at the end because it's not easy getting a good job in these type of games. Everybody's battling for the same positions, and
right, right.
it was great just landing in California.
Gotcha, gotcha. So I guess one of my first questions, and it's not pertaining to the list that I gave you. So what made you want to be the head coach at FAU? Was it the colors? Was it the uniforms? Was it the atmosphere? What attracted you to FAU?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my first instinct, I had two teams in mind before I landed in FAU. Like
Okay.
FAU wasn't really the top choice.
Who
I
was your
had
top choice?
my top choice was Tulane because I love the green way. I love the green on those jerseys. Tulane was one of them, and then the second one was Memphis. But
Okay.
obviously, with knowing the rotation, I figured those two teams were going to come off the belt. So then my
Right.
next my next thing would be like, you know what? I need a team with the good uniforms because I love good uniforms. And
Yes.
FAU had great uniforms. They have a good stadium. And then the second thing that did it for me is the pipeline. And FAU, seeing that it's from Florida, is
Yeah.
going to be a little bit easier to recruit players out of Florida than it is, let's say, somewhere out in middle of Wyoming.
Right, right, right. So that Florida, like you said, you do have a great pipeline. You will be competing with, the bigger schools like Miami or Florida or Florida State. However, based on how make up your team and stuff like that, you should be able to grab and steal some of those recruits from those big schools. You know.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's dive into our first question. And this is just kind of centered around the timeline shift. So the question would be, what are your non-negotiables for the first 90 days versus your goals for the year three, like up until year three? What do you want to accomplish in your first 90 days there that you feel like is very important and crucial to the build and establishment of this dynasty that you're trying to build at FAU?
Yep, yep. So the best thing that I've gotten so far is what I was able to test the beta. I was invited to test the beta for 27. So I was able to see the changes from 26 to 27.
Right.
And the 30 to the 30 days to the next year and a half,
Hmm.
that kind of changed on me a little bit because now I have to take in INL deals, keeping up with the program, your own roster needs deals in case they do well. So then I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? There's going to be a lot of mistakes the first year, especially when it comes to the INL budget that we have. So my
Yes.
goal for the first 30 days is to maintain my roster, right? So I know I went through it when the updates came out of the roster, how many freshmen and versus
Yeah.
seniors I had, and they're relatively young. I have a bunch of sophomores and a bunch of juniors on my squad,
Okay.
which is great for the first year buildup, which means I don't
Yes.
have to go out and spend a lot of INL deals on players from the outside where I could spend it more on my team.
Right.
So the first 30 days is going to be focusing on my team, developing my players, being able to finish at least 500 or better because I don't want to keep losing and then have to get fired. I want to be able to complete
Right.
my AD goals. I want to complete it and maintain my roster. And then once within the first year that I complete that, now I can start focusing on recruiting outward, recruiting for transfer deals, developing my facilities. That way, I don't incur a lot of injuries. Because that's
Gotcha.
another thing that I tested in the beta was if your facilities are not updated, your players are going to get injured.
Right.
So
Right.
my thing is make sure that I have a good healthy group core group, so I don't have to worry about, oh, I don't have enough depth here, I don't have enough depth there.
Gotcha. That sounds like a real good plan, for your initial 30 to 90 days going into, ultimately probably year two, year three of your contract. And like you mentioned, you don't want to start losing because then your AD is looking at you like, hey, this Fade might not be the guy for FAU. You know what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely.
um, now I know recently they released like the overalls of the teams and the players or whatever. Have you had time to kind of like dive into that to kind of see? And I know you mentioned you got a lot of young guys on your team. Is there any one or two, particular guys that you're gonna have to lean on heavily? Like, is it a quarterback? Is there a running back that hey, I can lean on this guy to kind of take us, through the season?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best part about this is seeing your overalls before the actual game comes out. And I was looking, and there's four players on my offensive side that look great. I have three receivers that are over 75 overall, that have over 90 speed, and I
Oh,
have a young quarterback that is at I think it was 78 or 79 overall,
right.
sophomore.
Okay.
So it looks to me like we're gonna go pass heavy this first year because the halfbacks are not looking all that great. So it might have to be a pass heavy system this year. I might have to rely heavily on the pass. Um,
Right.
the defensive side looks pretty good. I have pretty decent cornerbacks with 88, 89 speed. So it should be good. I like the balance that the
Yeah.
game actually gave, which is no team started at 99 overall except I think it was like Ohio State,
Right.
which is amazing, right? And everybody else in the AAC and then the Sun Belt, they're all pretty leveled out. So it's gonna be a great year, at least a great year one.
Yes. 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 All right. So let's move on to the next question, man. I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, but now, what's your plan as far as like roster and what's your and roster and porter strategy? Like, because with the new game, we have to take into consideration NIL, and NIL could be with players already on your team or players that you're trying to recruit to come to FAU. So how are you gonna handle that? You know what I'm saying? As far as like who you think deserve NIL, and are you gonna just throw NIL at like maybe a 3 or 4 star, and hopefully you can get them into FAU? What's your plan in regards to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great question because the way we look at it now, any small moves that we make could be detrimental to the rest of your roster, right? So let's say you only have a $1,500 budget, point budget, and you waste all 1,500 on one player, then you screwed yourself because now you can't really build the rest of your roster. For example, if my quarterback goes off for 5,000 yards and 60 touchdowns, as he asking for an INL and we don't give it to
Yeah.
him, I lose him, you know?
Right. Right.
So I think it really comes down to balance. I think the first year for smaller schools like us, uh, my suggestion to myself would be hold on to those INL deals and see how your roster does overall, right? And that's what I want to see. I want to see how good my roster does. And if I believe that my quarterback or my wide receivers were a big part of my team, I'm absolutely going to give them the INL to retain them because I don't want to
Right.
lose them. I don't want nobody else to snatch them from me.
Right.
Um, recruiting. I'm gonna just have to go to see who has a very small to no INL deals and just start
Hmm.
recruiting that way until I start building a nice 3-star program.
Yeah.
And then, well, obviously, when I start completing my AD goals, I'll start spending a little bit more INL money. But I think priorities would be getting my facilities all set, hiring the right coaches, hiring the right medical staff because now we have to pay INL deals to medical staff so our players
Yeah.
don't get injured. So
Right.
I think we have to be more balanced. At least in my case, I'm gonna be a lot more balanced and not splurge on players. Well, I would love to, absolutely, but I'm gonna have to see what my budget is versus what I can actually afford.
Right, right, right. Now you mentioned your quarterback possibly because earlier you said, "Hey, you're gonna throw heavy," and this really is probably gonna go into our next question. So let me hit this next question, then I'll allow you to speak on this. So earlier, this question right here is like, what's gonna be your identity for this FAU team? Are you gonna bring your scheme from your previous team as a head coach, or are you gonna create a whole new identity for this FAU team? Because earlier you mentioned, say, hey, based on your roster, you got 3, 4 solid wide receivers. That's like 75 overall with about 90 speed. You got a good, decent quarterback who you say, hey, this quarterback might throw for 5,000 yards, 60 touchdowns, and he may require a little bit more NIL. Hopefully, if he does do that and you don't pay him, hopefully he ends up on my team because I would definitely welcome him to La Tech. But so, what's gonna be your identity for FAU? Is it gonna be strictly passing? Or is it going to be more of a balanced approach?
Right. So last year in California, I went strictly passing. I had this quarterback and tight end combo that went crazy for 3 straight years, winning awards with Ojalade, um, winning best tight end of the year 3 times in a row with 20 plus touchdowns each season.
Right,
So I want to carry the pass over to 27, but the way I tested the beta, the computers are very adaptive. So so they adapt quickly to your plays. Um, so at this point, I want to go pass heavy, but I will have to be more balanced because with the AI being more adaptive and smarter on defense, it's best to be balanced than just fully focused on one side of the field.
right, right. And that's a great point because with this year's game, they've added so much to like the offensive adjustments and defensive adjustments. And the one thing that I did see is, and a lot of people really complain about, as far as like um not having a lot of defensive playbooks. So this year they kind of expanded on that. So yes, being that they've kind of levied the advantage to maybe I think the defense, you're gonna have to be a little balanced to kind of keep that defense off, off balance. So you can't just both strictly pass or strictly run. You're gonna have to be balanced, kind of throw that defense off. So now going to our fourth question, that would be so once you've kind of stepped into that head coaching spot and got a few seasons or games up under your belt, when you look back at your team, what will make you be like, hey, yeah, this is a Coach Fav team? Is it gonna be the roster? Is it gonna be the wins or the losses? Or is it gonna be how you build the facilities? What's gonna be the staple that say, yeah, this is my team. FAU is Coach Fav team.
Yeah, absolutely. The the stamp on it would be making the CFP, making that play the college playoffs, and that's the ultimate goal is making it in there so we can have a shot at obviously winning the Natty, which is something that I think anybody in this league can honestly do, especially the first few years where we're all balancing we're all in the same regimen. But eventually, the stepping stone is making all the bowls that we can, and then making the college playoff team and being like, you know what, this is our identity. Anything less than that is basically it's not good, right? It's a
Right.
failure. So our goals are obviously to make every bowl that we can, try to
Yeah.
win every conference every year, try to win the conference if we can, and make the natty. Anything short of not making a bowl is a failure.
Right. So your goal is to make the bowls every season, and ultimately, make sure you make it to the college playoff. And that's
Absolutely.
that's a great goal. It's going to be very hard to accomplish because it's a lot of good users in this league. But I got faith and trust in Coach Fav to get that FAU team back to you know where it should be. So my last question in the final field question would be, what do you what do you need as a coach from the administration, the boosters, and the fan base to really push you and give you the support that you need, that you can leave your stamp on this team?
Absolutely. I think for the fans, first and foremost, would be just patience and love towards the team. Rebuilding a team with a lower budget means you need a little bit more patience now versus top edge teams out there. So just a little bit of patience and love for the team. Whenever we're in a small drought or whatever, just keep motivating them from management and from the superintendent and the owner of the college. Just basically tell them that we need those goals to keep coming our way so we can keep getting keep accomplishing those AB goals to increase our NIL budget. Because
Right.
obviously, with the more budget that we get, the more scholarships we could offer, the better our team is going to be. One thing is recruiting 2 3 stars, but another is recruiting a top of the line defender, a top of the line quarterback or receiver that's a game changer. And eventually, I think every team needs a game changer. You can only do so much on a base salary on a base
Right.
team. You eventually need to step outside a little bit and spend to win.
Right. 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 All right. So those were the 5 questions that I provided, so that we could be prepared for this interview. But my next 2 questions are just going to be, off the top. So coming into this season right here, and I can't, yeah, I can say season. Who's a person that you have a picture of in your locker room, and you're throwing darts and it's hitting bullseye every time you hit it, and that's the person that you feel like you want to take out? Who would that person be?
Absolutely. So I have this beautiful picture of this man named Champ Time right on my locker, bro. Right on my locker, right there.
Yeah.
And I have a big old circle right on his nose. And every
Right.
time I look at it, I just throw it because it seems that every time we play, the man's never on vacation. But every time he plays another person, he's always on vacation, man.
Yeah.
No, but Champ Time's a hell of a player, man.
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
many games with him that they've been close. But there's been some that have been like a landslide. But the man's a great user, and that's what you want to compare yourself to is to users like that because it makes you a better player, right?
Right.
And I just when I see that name on that calendar, just know that it's gonna be circled every single time, and the question will arise: Are you going on vacation? Because if not, I'm gonna be ready.
Right, right, right. I love it, and I noticed that in the chat, and I understand what you're saying. I mean, I would hope, like, we play, he go on vacation too, so I can get that little force win for a little morale boost. It's okay, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. So, uh, my last question is for you, Coach Fave, FAU Owls. What if you could give any insight or advice to the players coming in to FAU, the freshmen, or any new coaches that you what would you tell them?
Absolutely. I would tell him that When you enter FAU, it's not just a program where you come in and you play football and that's it. When you come in, it's a family, right? We're all going to come in as a family. We win together, we lose together, we develop together. If one player is down, we are landing our hand to pick them right back up. And just to know that there won't be any losing seasons when we come to FAU. I pride myself in winning. I pride myself in bringing the best out of the players, and they can expect year in and year out to be up there competing with the best.
Right. Well, hey man, those were some great responses, man. As the host of the DNA podcast, DaBus, I really want to give a shout out to you and thank you for being the first person, the first guest on my show. And man, I wish you luck this season, man. I hope you enjoy the grind. And man, next time, man, maybe we can get you back on later after a couple, you know, season and kind of see where FAU is based on the first episode that we had. So thanks for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Buzz. It was a pleasure, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, until next time, man. Um, y'all stay tuned. We'll probably be getting out another episode soon once I find the next guest. But other than that, hey man, get ready for a new season, man, and let's have some fun. Y'all boys be good.
Welcome to the DNA.